Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the weekly comic book roundup. We'll get started this week with Marauders, number 6. Where we left off, Hominus Verendi is attacked. Showed that they were in charge. They were basically running the show in Madripoor and were doing what they could to harass Krakoan vessels. When the Marauder arrived to rescue the upstart, Hatemonger and Executioner boarded the ship and attacked the crew. So we open up with Pyro attacking Executioner and Hatemonger. With Hatemonger about to kill Iceman before Kate saves him. And basically tells him to stay below decks until he's feeling better, as he apparently got his bell rung. Then Kate returns to the main deck and saves it. And prevents Pyro from being choked out by Hatemonger. Stabs Hatemonger in the back. However, Executioner manages to briefly stab Pyro in the chest, though it does not appear to be a fatal mortal wound. It is quickly revealed, however, that it was actually an injection of a mini submersible piloted by none other than Yellowjacket. With the leaders of Verendi, Cade Kilgore and his young cohorts watching. Though it turns out that also working with Verendi is none other than longtime Hellfire Club member Donald Pierce, leader of the Reavers, who is apparently also supplying Verendi with the power dampener armor that was used by the Russians. Also, Pierce is now the UN ambassador for Madripoor. The ship and the armor is taken. And while Iceman and Storm both volunteer to stick around, Kate assures them she'll be fine on her own. There's also a sublog from Yellowjacket explaining that he's running silent within Pyro, but he's not broadcasting live, as means may have a way to detect him. He has managed to get an imagery from Pyro's optic nerves. Doing a security sweep of the boat, however, has uncovered nothing more than an all-white wardrobe that goes on forever, as well as a hair and nail salon, a theater that allows Pyro to watch Rick and Morty. And Yellowjacket basically says, the mutants kind of seem pretty chill. However, it turns out that there's a stowaway aboard the ship that Kate stole. That stowaway is none other than Sebastian Shaw, who's been hiding in one of the suits of armor. Basically explaining that he's explaining to the reader that he means to remove Kate from the board And he's using a new seed found on the island to basically incapacitate her. He drops Lockheed in the ocean and causes and blows a hole in the bottom of the boat's hull. And he apparently thinks that since Kate can't use the gates, she can't be resurrected by resurrection protocol either. But it turns out he brought in Donald Pierce. He also got assistance from Emma's brother, and his overall plan is to put Shinobi in place as Red King, and then get a White Queen of his choice in place of Emma. And that's where the issue ends, with Kate seemingly drowning, and Sebastian Shaw leaving the island. Next up, we've got Excalibur, number 6. Where we left off in Excalibur, Rogue had come out of her cocoon, completely and totally drained Apocalypse in an effort to finish what his to enact his plan of conquest against Otherworld. And so the issue begins on Krakoa with Apocalypse being resurrected and Jamie Braddock bringing him his clothing. Xavier is actually a little disappointed, as he puts it, mainly in Apocalypse using Krakoan Mastery over Death for his own ends. And so in Otherworld, the forces of Queen Regent Morgan Le Fay face off against Excalibur. With the Rogue still showing the signs of Apocalypse's power. The team is able to rout Le Fay's forces quite easily, nonetheless. Apocalypse then arrives, suggests a parlay, and also that the fate of the kingdom can be decided in a battle of champions. Betsy versus Brian. The duel begins. And eventually Betsy does win. But she does end up running Brian through. Also, the final piece of the plan is revealed to be none other than placing Jamie Braddock on the throne of Otherworld. Jamie brings back Brian, imprisons Morgan Le Fay, and all is well that ends well, seemingly. Back on Krakoa, Gambit and Rogue have a nice little evening in a hot tub. And Rogue intimates that while, not everyone's supposed to, make more mutants, she, at least right now, doesn't want to have kids. Maybe not ever. However, Gambit is totally fine with that. And also, she appears to be now in full control of her powers. No bracelet, no necklace, just, Remy can touch her without problem. Back at Braddock Manor, um, Betsy goes to talk with Brian, and he informs her that in his slumber, Merlin and Roma came to him and tested him, and he failed. Going for the Sword of Might rather than the Amulet of Right. And so Betsy and Brian exchange totems, basically Brian hanging back to get the amulet of Right, and giving Betsy the Sword of Might, saying she needs to lock the sword away for her own safety and his. Back on Otherworld, it appears Apocalypse has taken residence there and is dissecting Morgan Le Fay. And it explains that the experiments involving the dissection of Morgan Le Fay resulted in the identification of one unidentified malignant component, heretofore referred to as Component Y. Some of the things needed for his methodology: a mega-level mutate, Exodus, or Monarch, a mutate assistant of advanced stage, Exodus, and components of Krakoa to protect and sanctify Magicka Superior. Conclusion is that the magic of the Superior relies on strength of community, not exercise of power. 3 is an insufficient number to form a coven. Component Y is an active threat to Otherworld, and perhaps elsewhere, and will require containment both there and at the source. That's where the issue ends. Moving on, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy #1. And yes, I know, we just had one of these like a year ago. I'm not a fan of this whole, oh hey, we're starting a new run of the series, so a new creative team is starting right after the old one that leaves, so new #1. It gets annoying, to say the least. Anywho, so we begin on Elysion 3, a colony planet of the Utopian Kree faction. A young Kree child had a dream last night about everything being destroyed. His mother claims he's been watching the news feed and all that news of the Civil War. It's not healthy. So his father goes to talk to him, and he explains to him that they're safe there. You don't have to worry about the war coming. And so, as the boy's father talks to one of his fellows, their world is suddenly attacked by Zeus. Cut to Half-World. Basically, the Guardians are having Thanksgiving, with Quill having even managed to get an actual turkey from Earth to cook. No, Rocket's not going to eat it. It's got weird skin. Then Nova shows up. Explains that, he's starting her up to vacation, but he kind of needs help from the Guardians. Explains that Zeus is basically going around with the floating city of New Olympus, subjugating worlds. However, and while Moondragon and Violet Vel are in, and potentially, all right, as well as Rocket, Gamora, Groot, Drax are all out. And so, late that night, Star-Lord and Rocket go aboard the ship and head out. With Star-Lord leaving a message for basically a voicemail for Gamora explaining, yeah, I got to do this. While they're en route to the Rock, which is currently Nova Corps HQ, which has largely been deserted since the Corps was massacred by the Universal Church of Truth. The handful of people that Nova's been able to recruit have all arrived. Novar, aka Marvel Boy, Moondragon, Violet Vel, Star-Lord, and Rocket. Nova then explains to Star-Lord and Rocket why it is that this is all he can get. Namely, Annihilation Scourge. He also does have a bit of a breakdown about how something is happening. The Kree Civil War is on pause for the moment, but the Imperium won't say who ordered it, or who their new ruler is. The Skrulls are detonating suns and sending war fleets out past their borders, telling nobody where they're going or why. And then there's a rumor that the Shi'ar Royals are trying to replace Gladiator with a kid. Of course, we know what's going on. We know part of what's going on, at least. The Kree Civil War is at a pause because the new Kree Emperor is Hulkling. And he's also brought the Skrulls into the fold, as he's half Skrull. And yes, the Shi'ar, at the insistence of Gladiator, are replacing Gladiator with the heir to the Nermani line. And so, what all boils down to is, it's this handful of people or nobody. And so, Star-Lord says, then it's us. So they figure out the next target. They decide to cause a distraction. Violet Vel and Nova take on Zeus while the ship lands, and the rest of the Guardians infiltrate New Olympus. Turns out not all of the Olympians have been resurrected. However, it's very taxing for Moondragon to keep everyone hidden from those who have been. 2 major energy drains are shown within the ship, however. So they split up and go after the 2 drains. Well, eventually Artemis is able to see through, but to at least realize someone is here, though they're telling me that, though my mind is telling me no one. It's no one. However, Hermes manages to moves the speed of thought, knocks out Moondragon, basically letting everyone know that, oh, yeah, they're there. Novar Black. Zeus manages to take down both Nova and Viola. Novar blasts Hermes in the face. And of course, there's also the fact that they basically made a black hole bomb, and Hephaestus wants the bomb brought to him so he can see it. As the Guardians retreat further into the ship, Nova and Moondragon discover one of the major power drains. The major drain is basically holding Hercules prisoner. That's where the issue ends. Which, I gotta say, great job picking up on that plot thread from the end of Avengers No Road Home. Which actually I think Al Ewing, writing Guardians now, co-wrote, so makes sense. Finally, for this video, we've got Basketful of Heads, number 4. Now, where we left off here, June, our young axe-wielding heroine, was picked up by one of the islanders, given a ride in the rain. She put on his coat to keep dry and discovered in the pocket was the guy was trying to move a tree out of the way. The shears were a pair of bloody shears, which appeared to, or a pair of bloody clippers. Presumably, the ones used to cut off her boyfriend's finger. So, she whacked the guy in the leg with the axe, but he managed to knock her out. They duke it out. She stabs and then decapitates the guy. Tells him as best she can about what's going on. And puts her with Puzo's head. However, he explains that he didn't cut off Liam's finger. He apparently got some of the barbed wire. One of those where that funny escape met. So she heads towards the station, gets there eventually, and the sheriff's son is there. So he sent everyone home, and he's there to basically keep it up. He at least knows what to do when the phone rings. So she offers him, but she tells him what happened at the house, and leaving out the part about how the axe is leaving people's heads alive. But also the thing about supposedly the money. And they got some fresh duds. She got fresh clothes for her, so she changes, starts to put them on, and discovers that the shirt belongs to Puzo. Puzo's a dirty cop, or formerly a dirty cop. And the chief then explains that he's a good middle infielder, but an outrageously dirty cop. And so now, of course, she wants to know what's going on. Also, of note, the softball team is the Sea Dogs. Speaking of Sea Dogs, we've got Sea Dogs Chapter 10. Where we left off here, the bloody business of the Sea Dogs has been discovered. The crew The HMS Havoc is now cautious as to who it was who killed their crew members. The culprits, however, are a part of their crew. Voyager Little and Moses Child. And that's where the issue ends. That's it for this portion of the roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.